Turn recorder on, mics will be hot. You should. It's about that time. I have 6:30 in the evening on my watch, so I'd like to call this meeting to order. Mr. Hall, would you lead us in a prayer, please, sir?
Heavenly Father, we thank you for your blessings. We acknowledge your position and place in our lives, the importance it is for us to draw our wisdom and strength from you. And we pray, Lord, that you would give us discernment through this meeting, that you would guide each of the councilmen, and that you would help us to better our community. We thank you for our community. We thank you for the ability to live here and to enjoy what our city has for us. And we pray, Lord, that you continue to build our community up in a place that would be also pleasing to you, we pray. And we also pray, Lord, for tonight for Michael Kendall, Lord, and for his health, for his family. There at the hospital, we pray for your divine intervention and give his strength and healing to his life, but also to his family, we pray in Jesus' name. Amen.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Very good, thank you. Madam Clerk, would you call the roll, please?
Councilmember Hall,
Yes, here.
Councilmember Chapman,
Here.
Councilmember McMinn,
Here.
Councilmember Hefner is absent, Councilmember Brooke,
Here.
and Councilmember Rubel.
Here.
We do have a quorum tonight. Ms. Hefner is out sick this evening. I assume that's going to be an excused absence. Very good. First on the agenda tonight is the review and approval of the council meeting minutes of December 18th. I would entertain a motion to approve as presented.
Motion.
A motion, we have a second.
Second.
Any comments? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, council. Next on the agenda is department reports and financials. I entertain a motion to approve as presented.
Motion.
We have a motion, we have a second,
Second.
and we have a second. Any comments? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. There is no planning commission report tonight. There was no meeting held in December as they had nothing on the agenda. Moving on to old business. If you recall, last month there was a motion to go out for RFQs, request for qualifications for EMS contract. I vetoed that motion to have additional discussion about that, and we did have another meeting about that and discussed it. This is up for tonight. You have the opportunity to override my veto. I open the floor up for discussion. And I will tell you that Mr. Gary Pageant from Southern Paramedic is here tonight. One of the discussions that we had in that meeting was the subsidy, the $20,000 subsidy. Mr. Gary, if you'd come forward, please.
Absolutely.
Mr. Gary and I have been discussing various things, and one thing that he came up with and has offered is to withdraw that $20,000 subsidy in that contract to move forward with it. Is that correct?
That is correct, sir. Yes.
So we would not have to pay that, as we've been paying for years, if we went forward with an extension on their contract. Oh, any further discussion? Thank you.
Thank you.
Just a quick question.
Sure.
Are they still planning on putting a shed or whatever you would call it in Austin?
There isn't a truck in Austin now already. It's being housed at the fire station on the other side of the interstate, which gives us better coverage on that side of the interstate for us too. This side of the railroad tracks, yeah, in particular.
So you'll be operating both on both sides? Yes.
Mr. Patty, why don't you go ahead and come on back up in case they have any further questions, and it'll be on record. Of course, now he gets up here and I'll ask you, do you have any further questions? Mr. Gary? With that in mind, all right, well, I guess you can sit down. Oh. All right, the procedure on this is need a motion to override my veto, and then it takes a 2/3 majority, which is 4 votes to override it. Do we have a motion to override the veto?
Motion.
We have a motion. Do we have a second to override the veto? Motion dies for lack of second. With that in mind, I entertain a motion to allow me to negotiate with Mr. Gary to extend a contract without the subsidy as we talked about.
I'll make that motion.
We have that motion. Second?
How long is the contract going to be?
It'll be a 3-year contract.
A second.
So I have a motion and a second to allow me to work with Mr. Gary on extending the contract for 3 years without the subsidy. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Hall,
Yes.
Councilmember Chapman,
Yes.
Councilmember McMahon,
Yes.
Councilmember Brooke,
No.
and Councilmember Rubel.
Yes.
Thank you for dropping that fee. Appreciate it.
Motion carries 4-1. Is that okay you have? All right. Mr. Gary, you and I will talk. We'll get going on this, sir. All right. I appreciate it. Thank you. Next on the agenda is new business. First is ordinance 2024-01. Would you read the title, please?
An ordinance repealing and replacing ordinance 0-2023-01, establishing the rules and procedures to be used by Ward City Council, declaring an emergency, and for other purposes.
Council, this is a annual ordinance. There's no change from last year's. One of the law requires us to set this ordinance on the first regular meeting in January. And I open the floor up for discussion. Hearing none, I'd entertain a motion to approve ordinance 2024-01 on its first reading.
I'll make the motion.
We have a motion. We have a second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Chapman,
Yes.
Councilmember McMahon,
Yes.
Councilmember Brooke,
Yes.
Councilmember Rubel,
Yes.
and Councilmember Hall.
Yes.
Order 2024-01 is approved on its first reading. I'd entertain a motion to suspend the rules for second and third reading.
Motion.
We have a motion. We have a second.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. I entertain a motion to approve ordinance number 2024-01.
Make a motion.
Second.
And we have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Councilmember McMahon,
Yes.
Councilmember Brooke,
Yes.
Councilmember Rubel,
Yes.
Councilmember Hall,
Yes.
Councilmember Chapman.
Yes.
Ordinance 2024-01 is approved. I entertain a motion to not invoke the emergency clause.
Motion.
We have a motion. We have a second.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Brooke,
Yes.
Councilmember Rubel,
Yes.
Councilmember Hall,
Yes.
Councilmember Chapman,
Yes.
Councilmember McMahon.
Yes.
Ordinance 2024-01 is approved as presented. I will ask, can we jump to a last item on the agenda? Mr. Rubel had requested this be on the agenda to possibly talk about changing the date that we meet, and this is in this ordinance. We can go ahead and take care of this now if you don't mind.
So, Mike, what I wanted to bring
Hang on.
up.
I need a motion to
Okay,
to put that on for discussion.
He motioned. I
Okay, we have a
second.
motion with a second.
Second.
All those approve, say aye.
Aye.
All right, now, there you go, sir.
So the reason I brought this up is this year was really not that big of a deal because there's only 2 of them. Last year we had 3 federal holidays that fell on our monthly meetings. This year I think there's only 2.
I think so.
The only other caveat to this is that Monday, you think everything goes over the weekend, I think that Monday would give everybody a buffer to be able to, the last minute stuff that gets thrown on at the end of the week gives us a buffer for that Monday to be able to look over it instead of just being hit with it, for lack of a better term, and not having a chance to look over it. I think moving it to the 3rd Tuesday, so just one day to the right, would make a big difference in the way that council operates. So,
I have no problem about that, none whatsoever.
I agree. I make a motion that we change it to the 3rd Tuesday of each month.
So we have a motion to change it to the 3rd Tuesday.
I second that.
We have a motion and a second. In with your motion, sir, can I ask you to modify your motion? And then with the motion, also change the ordinance 2024-01 to reflect that if approved.
Right. It changed the ordinance to reflect that,
Okay,
if approved.
thank you. And you have the second, you second that? Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? We'll make the change. So next month's meeting will be whatever it is, the 3rd Tuesday. All right, very good. Next on the agenda is ordinance 2024-02. Would you read the title, please?
An ordinance authorizing the temporary parking of recreational vehicles, travel trailers within any and all zones with the city of Ward from April 1st, 2024 to April 12th, 2024. Establish a permitting fee process, establishing penalties, waiving the provisions of ordinance 2009-01, and for other purposes.
Council, I hope you had a chance to read this ordinance. This, of course, is, for the eclipse. Open the door, open the floor up for discussion.
my only question in this whole deal, and I don't have a problem with any of it, but I got a question, is people come in there and what, normally it's pretty good size 3/4 ton, 1-ton trucks pulling these campers. And we're talking first week of April, second week of April. How nasty is that field gonna be? And what are our provisions for getting them out
You're
of
talking about
there?
the park. This doesn't have to do with the park. This has to do with parking in neighborhoods. But to answer your question, we hope it doesn't rain. Okay? That's the,
I remember that one 4th of July or whatever it was that we had all the
4th of
rain
July,
and
the
the
circus.
fireworks, and we had people, oh my God, it
It's a
was a
mess.
mess out there.
Well, again, we're hoping it doesn't rain. But, you can't do that. That's why in this, we keep them on, their driveways unless you got a bigger lot. And if you want to do that, go for it. But my mind on this particular ordinance is this is a once in a lifetime, well, maybe my lifetime, it'll happen again in 2045, I think. But anyway, I'll let that mayor at that time figure it out. Some of you all will still be here, and heck, I may still be here, who knows? Anyway, this will give an opportunity for people to well, make a little money, capitalism, and bring some more tourism dollars to the area. And it's just a temporary matter. I think it doesn't go into effect till 1 April, and it terminates on April 12th, so it's a very short period of time. So, any further discussion? Any public discussion? Hearing none, I'd entertain a motion to approve ordinance 2024-02 on its first reading.
I'll make the motion.
We have a motion, we have a second.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Brooke,
Yes.
Councilmember Rubel,
Yes.
Councilmember Hall,
Yes.
Councilmember Chapman,
Yes.
Councilmember McMahon.
Yes.
Ordinance 2024-02 is approved on its first reading. Council, I'd like to carry this over to next reading, or next month for a second reading, to give everybody a chance to really look it over and if any discussion you have with constituents. Next on the agenda is ordinance 2024-03. Would you read the title, please?
An ordinance repealing and replacing ordinances 2014-07, 2014-07-1, 2019-09, and 2023-02, prescribing a change in the rates to be charged for water and services rendered by the water and sewer system of the City of Ward, Arkansas, and prescribing other matters relating thereto.
Council, we had a working group session about this. Let me just say for the record and make sure everybody understands that this is not raising rates, not water rates to the individual consumer. This is raising fees for subdivisions and those who are building houses and whatever for meter loops, hard sets, soft sets, and it's all in here. The only question we had when we had our working group, we had a couple of discussions about requested meter check reading and the requested meter check removal for accuracy, the amount charged. I moved them back to what they were, so there's no change in that, so the consumer itself it won't be charged any extra. And I think that's what the gist of the council wanted during the working group session. Any discussion?
So clarify with me the process if someone requested to have their meter checked.
Bruce, would you come forward, please?
Yeah, so a meter check would be like, so during like normal meter reading, in those cases, oftentimes those numbers that are incorrect will come back as flagged. And of course, we check those and rereads. A check for an accurate reading would be like after meter reading at any point in time if they're concerned about their bill or possible water leak or meter running, we would go out and check that for them.
We go check out automatically, but we also
Yeah.
respond out when requested. The $25 charge for service is available if you'll see that this fee may be waived by the water office manager for good cause. What that is for is just in case we're being abused, which has happened before. But Bruce can attest, he'll go out multiple times, look at meters and try to figure what's going on. If a customer wants their meter actually pulled and sent for and checked for accuracy, that's when the $50 charge comes into play. Now, having said all that, all the meters, for majority of the meters, are being replaced right now with brand new meters. And it's going to be on a system that we can look at the meter, right there in our system. And it'll be flagged in the morning if it's running fast overnight. We'll be able to tell, we'll be able to proactively call the customer and tell them your meter ran more than normal overnight. We need check, you need check, we need check together to see what's going on. It'll be a much better system.
And we'll be able to set, parameters and whatnot as far as at what point do we want to notify the customer,
I guess my question is, so like if someone has a meter sent off to be checked and they pay $50, and then if it comes back that it's faulty, do you give people their $50 back?
Sure, we would, yeah.
That doesn't say that,
It doesn't
though.
say that, but even just good order, I mean, that'd be,
I know, I'm just saying that when I'm reading this, it is certainly serves more of us than it does the consumer, because it puts all the money, the financial responsibility on that person who has a problem. So once again, I feel like that is part of our problem with our water department, and what people have problems with is that when you ask and you say you have a problem, you have to pay to find out why you
guess
have a
it-
problem.
easy enough. We can put a line in there that if a meter is found to be inaccurate, we replace it at our cost, of course. Then we would refund the $50 accuracy check.
Okay, and then the same thing like with the $25 charge, is there a way to put something in there though that, that it's like after repeated instead of just calling to ask to have it read, that you can get a $25? Because even though it says it can be waived, that's not really straight across the board, so really you
Yeah.
could make somebody mad and they could say they're not gonna waive it. Do you know what I mean? Like, I just feel like it's read wrong.
So what number do you suggest that they have put on there?
I mean, I feel like if it's multiple times, I get it, but that's what I'm saying. I feel like if you're gonna say 2 or 3 times, whatever, you know, kind of like, you get so many a year, like 3, I don't know, Casey.
Yeah, it's
I mean, I know that there are people that ask multiple times, and I get that. So I feel like that needs to be in there. I agree with you that that needs to be in there. But I feel like because we have so much that we have to save communication-wise and save face on, that that we're automatically saying, and if someone read that, some people may not even ask to have it come out because they're like, I
Yeah.
can't pay the 25, you know what I mean?
I got you, but from what I understand what you're saying, my understanding is you want a certain number, but it's kind of hard to put a set number because sometimes two times or 3 times not a nuisance, but 5 or 6 times is to some people, you know, so.
I agree.
it's
That's the
kinda-
reason I'm saying I
it's
feel like
kinda
we need a
hard-
number.
It's kind of hard to put a number on it, you know, that's why when it says fee can be waived or fee is waived and stuff, that kind of encompasses that type of thing. But for clarity issue, I guess, for the constituents, for people, it probably would be better to have a number. But to have a number, agree on that number, it's kind of hard to do so.
What
Right,
number?
well, and the other question, the reason I'm saying that too, like the clarity of that, so like when you have a water leak, how many, like, you know, when you can turn in, if you've got it fixed, is that every single time that something breaks, you can turn a receipt in and have it offset, or is it so many
No,
times a year?
Within this ordinance, that is a leak adjustment that talks about one time a fiscal year.
Okay, so that's what I'm saying. So see, that has a number. This doesn't really have a number, and I feel like that we're putting that out there that it's to your discretion, and everybody already feels like, oh, this, you know.
Bruce, how many times has that fee been charged, do you know?
I've been here 5 years and I've never charged it. I always go out.
It's a charge that we could use, and I'll be honest with you, Stacy, if we put a number of 3 a month or 3 a quarter, or whatever, well, people are going to do it because they're not gonna be charged, because it
They're
says in the.
going to have it read because they're not going to be charged?
Yeah, right, they're gonna say, yeah, you've read it run, I want you to go ahead and come out and read it again, because the 3rd time you charge me, but 2 times I get it for free. I would think, it's that possibility, people unfortunately might do it. I just think if we leave it, and it's been this way forever,
I know, but some of our problems, that's what I'm saying, like, some of our problems have been forever.
Sure.
And it's carried over from administration to administration
Well, I
to
don't-
administration. Do you see what I'm
we've
saying?
done-
But I feel like that it's not what you're doing, it's because it's not clear. And there's
Well, I
a
think it's-
misunderstanding where people feel like they're treated misfairly. But if it's clear, there's no way you can be treated misfairly because it says in here how many times you can ask to do it. And it's not to their office manager's discretion. I'm just hearing from people that, well, they did this for so-and-so, but they didn't do this for me. So I'm like, if we take all that out of the errors,
We haven't done this for anybody. haven't charged
again,
anybody.
I'm just saying, but
So what she's saying is she wants, so
No.
you can say, okay, Mary, but you can say, for the number, you can put 1. If you want to put 1 down, that's, 1 is the number. whether we charge the fee or not, that's up to us. But at least I'll have a number there saying, okay, but this is it. You know, if I come out, it's there. You come out 2 or 3 times, yeah, they may charge a fee next time, but at least that one reading, that one thing is there and thing. So that's what I recommend, just put the number 1.
Just like you do with the league.
Okay.
I'm saying the same thing.
One time, well, somebody make a motion on
time,
what you want to do.
One time, I'd say 1 time a quarter.
One time a quarter? Is that your motion?
That's my motion.
So we have a motion on the board, on the table, to add a line in that paragraph V that, one time a quarter, no charge. After one time a quarter, you could be charged $25, and this fee can still be waived by the water office manager. Okay, is that your, is
That's
that?
my motion, yes.
Okay, that's your motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Roll call on the motion, please.
Councilmember Rubel,
Yes.
Councilmember Hall,
Yes.
Councilmember Chapman,
Yes.
Councilmember McMahon,
Yes.
and Councilmember Brooke.
Yes.
All right, council, I will include that in the ordinance. And with that change, any further discussion?
Then I guess I would like to also make the motion for the F, the requested meter removal, that they're charged $50, but if it is found, and granted it meant faulty,
Right.
that the $50 would be refunded, even though that's what you already do. I just feel like it needs to be in
Sure.
there.
Okay, so we have a motion to include language that we're going to refund $50 if the meter is found to be faulty. Second?
No, hold on. I gotta ask a question on the motion.
Pardon me?
Okay, can I ask a question about the motion?
Sure.
Now, would that be a refund as a credit, Stacy, or would it be a refund as a check going back to them?
I think it'd be better accounting-wise to refund it as a check.
Okay, I was going to say, I don't know how y'all have to do.
Yeah, I
That might
think
be a
we
Courtney.
run into an
Courtney.
issue with adding money to somebody's account
Yeah.
for that. So refund in cash or a check, whatever. Okay, so we have, all right, we have a motion, we have a second? Okay.
Second.
Roll call on the motion, please.
Councilmember Hall,
Yes.
Councilmember Chapman,
Yes.
Councilmember McMahon,
Yes.
Councilmember Brooke,
Yes.
Councilmember Rubel.
Yes.
Motion carries, and we will include that language in the ordinance. With that, council, would you like to table this until next month so I can get these changes in there? So we make sure the wording is what you want?
Yes.
I have no problem with that. We've been working on this for, a while anyway, so. All right, so with that in mind, somebody make a motion to table till next month, please.
Make a motion to table until next month.
Okay, we have a motion, we have a second.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion's carried. We'll carry this over next
I was
month.
going to say while Bruce was here, but what's the timeline on the meters, Bruce? Do we have
Sure.
how long we're looking at for all of them to be installed?
Yeah, we're, so the biggest thing we're waiting on is some of the dual radios, which is basically a dual meter set where it's 2 meters. Both meters work with that one unit. We're still waiting on several of those to come in. If we had everything on hand, it would probably be done by the end of February. But since we're having to wait on those, it's hard to say, and they can't give us an ETA on those. But we're approximately probably a third of the way done. And by next week, well, probably the next 2 weeks we got rain, they'll be more than halfway. And so it'll just be dependent on when we get the rest of those radios in, those dual point radios.
We're hoping by June or July, we'll be completely done and this thing will be operational.
Yeah.
Will we
Will we start with some of them, or just have to do it all at one time, the transfer,
All at one time.
all at one time?
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, once we get, of course, once we get all the meters installed and software installed and all that, we'll run some tests. We'll probably have 1 or 2 months of concurrent billing and reading meters to make sure that everything's working out and it reads correctly and we read correctly and things like that. But then at some point in time, we'll go live and it'll be a good thing.
Yeah, and they got a good little portal, these installers, to where they got everything on there as far as a picture of the meter that was removed, the one that was put in, the meter readings, any issues they came across, any of that stuff, and it's all right there on a portal as they do the installs. We have all that information, and then basically we can take that and send it to our billing company in the format that they like, and it'll just all be transferred.
But a lot of our issues with discrepancies about meter reading or not meter reading and things like that will go away.
Yeah. At least with this, we'll be able to pull it up if somebody's having an issue, and we can give them, data for that day or whatever, so they can, they can see it. And I think you can even go down to like every 15 minutes.
Yes. We pull the data and tell you at 3 o'clock in the morning, you ran a whole bunch of water. Don't know why, but. Well, there has been that before. We know that for a fact.
Yeah, it's happened.
Or filling up a pool. When you go on vacation, the neighbor's pool gets filled up. That has happened.
They forget to remove their water hose that's laying over their fence to the neighboring property. I've seen that one.
But
So.
still go ahead. That's the service use, yes, sir. All right, thank you very much on that. Next on the agenda is resolution 2024-01. Would you read the title, please?
A resolution to amend R 2022-35, the annual operating budget for calendar year 2023.
Council, just house cleaning, and we do it there beginning every year to reconcile and zero out the budget. I entertain a motion to approve. We have a motion. We have a second.
Second.
We have a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. Roll call, please.
Councilmember McMahon,
Yes.
Councilmember Brooke,
Yes.
Councilmember Rubel,
Yes.
Councilmember Hall,
Yes.
and Councilmember Chapman.
Yes.
Resolution 2024-01 has been approved. Thank you, council. Next on the agenda is resolution 2024-02. Read the title, please.
A resolution to revise R 2022-36, the annual Ward Water and Sewer System operating budget for calendar year 2023.
Same thing, council.
Motion.
We have a motion. We have a second.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Brooke,
Yes.
Councilmember Rubel,
Abstain.
That's a good idea. Mr. Rubel's staying in because his wife works and her pay comes out of that budget.
Councilmember Hall,
Yes.
Councilmember Chapman,
Yes.
and Councilmember McMahon.
Yes.
So we have 4 to 1 abstain, correct? Okay, motion carries. Resolution 2024-02 is approved. All right. Next on the agenda is resolution 2024-03. Read the title, please.
A resolution establishing the Ward Water and Wastewater Advisory Committee, defining membership, duties, and responsibilities, and for other purposes.
Council, this sets up an entirely new advisory committee for the water and wastewater as required by Act 605 of 2021 because we and other cities have more than 20% of our customer base outside the city limits. There is no guidance by the state on this, by Arkansas, not Rural Water, but ANRD. I have created this resolution. I asked for input from other cities through a listserv and got one from Hot Springs. Kind of stole some of their stuff and created this. I've shared this also with the entire state through our listserv because other cities are in this same boat and have been received well. This is totally brand new, and so it's certainly up for discussion.
I think it looks great.
Very good.
Yeah, it appeases me.
I'm so happy. It only appeases you, it appeases me too, I think, and be quite honest, the law requires you to have 2 from outside city limits, not 2 from inside, but I think that's important, that we get inside city limit discussion also on the makeup of the committee. I think it'll be good, and this, as we get into the situation, if things evolve and we need to change, we can do that as we grow and figure this out. So with that in mind, any further discussion, any public discussion? Hearing none, I'd entertain a motion to approve Resolution 2024-03 as written.
I make that motion.
We have a motion, we have a second.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Rubel,
Yes.
Councilmember Hall,
Yes.
Councilmember Chapman,
Yes.
Councilmember McMahon,
Yes.
and Councilmember Brooke.
Yes.
Resolution 2024-03 is approved. Council, if you allow me, this resolution this committee requires the chairperson to be a council member appointed with 2/3 majority of 4 of you every January. I'd entertain a motion to appoint whomever. Who would you like to vote to appoint?
I make a motion, Stacy.
Okay, we have a motion. We have a second. Any further discussion? Any other motion? We have a motion on the floor. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Ms. Stacy, I'll get with you on this. I'll have a resolution next month to formalize this, but go ahead and get this in the works, okay? And then we've already worked out application process. We'll start getting the word out, and then we'll bring everybody. I think I put in there 90 days when they'll meet the first time, so probably maybe next month, we'll bring whomever in front of you, and you all this is a council committee by the law. You all set this. You put whoever's on the committee, the individuals. I don't have a say-so in that, so it'll be entirely up to y'all. So we'll press forward with this. Thank you, council. Next on the agenda is Resolution 2024-04.
A resolution authorizing the mayor and/or city clerk of the city of Ward to enter into a contract
Bruce?
to purchase 3 10-horsepower pumps for various wastewater lift stations.
Yeah, so basically we're needing some pumps at a couple lift stations. We need 2 over at Nan's. Both those pumps are approximately 22 years old, and they're clogging multiple times each week, so we're having to pull them. And it's basically because they've worn out so much that they can't keep the velocity up, so they keep clogging, so we keep pulling them. So we need to go ahead and replace those 2. Because some days they're running 24 hours. We unclog it. It may go for 5 hours, and then the next day it's back to 24 hours. So it's getting to where we're spending too much time and energy over there. And then another pump for Deerfield lift station. The current pump we're replacing, we feel like it's repairable. So we're going to look to try to get that repaired, but that obviously can take a very long time. And during that time, we're going to need a pump in there, which is why we're buying the 3rd one.
And these pumps are, go ahead, Casey.
How many pumps do you have in the lift stations, all lift stations total?
The total amount of pumps,
Yes.
around 50, 51, 52.
Okay. I don't think the purchase of 3 is enough. I think they should have purchase of 5, keep 2 back, because you're always going to have stuff going down. That way you don't have to worry about everything, so we should have two on the shelf to replace it with while it's getting repaired.
I will, well, let me explain. If we go over $35,000, I had to go out for bids. We buy these as needed, and we come back later and buy it as needed.
So
Otherwise, I have to go out for bids and do the entire bid process.
So buy 3 this month and 3 next month.
I mean, I'm not disagreeing.
We originally looked at buying more, but there's a law, there's a portion of the law that says you can do sole source, you can sole source, but you have to explain it, and we looked, and there's other sources, but if this was the only source, JR's pump, we'd have no problem. But there are other sources within the state that sell the same pump. We like JR because we do good business with them, we've been doing business with them, they're great people. If we go over $35,000, I gotta pull this back, we gotta advertise in the paper and do bid openings and all that.
Okay, over 35,000 for what time period?
Doesn't say.
So you can go 3 now and then 3 next month, all right?
We can't approve that now.
No, we can't.
I know, we can't prove, I know we can't prove right now, but we can put it
Here's
on the
my
back burner.
Discussion.
What's the average age of, other than the 3 that you spoke about, what's the average age of these pumps?
It's all over the place. You know, last 5 years since I've been here, you know, we've been replacing and going to these barns, scythe chopper pumps, and basically it's got they got cutter blades on it, and it chops it up, which helps keeping the lift stations getting clogged and whatnot, and keeping trash out of the plant. But it's all over the place. I think we've replaced in the last 5 years with these Barnes SH and scythe pumps around 15 or so, and then the other ones in the system is anywhere from 10 to 22, 23 years.
So this is gonna be an ongoing issue if we
Always
don't.
is.
Yeah, so.
But I will tell you that in the past 5 years, we have purchased quite a few pumps because a lot of the lift stations only had one pump in it, and there can have 2 or more. We've had at least 2 pumps in, I believe, every lift station now, right?
Yes.
And I have zero knowledge of how any of that works, and not really
We'd be
completely
happy to take you out, he can show you.
interested in it. But I mean, so these lift stations, they're not like going anywhere. They're not like these vacuum
No.
deals. These
No.
are gonna be here forever. We had to have them because you gotta pump it uphill.
That's correct.
Yeah, and the thing is too, like on some of your repairs, not necessarily on the Barnes pumps with J.R. Stewart, but the other pumps, like say if it has a seal failure and a bearing goes out, and it's a pump that's 7, 8, 9 years old, you send it off for inspection for repair to get an estimate, and the majority of the time they send you back an estimate that's higher than the cost of a new pump. And they did it on purpose because they make their money off the new stuff.
So here's another question that, I mean, it kind of pertains to this. Is there a way to buy parts and send a guy or 2 to training on how to rebuild these? I mean, the Army's been fantastic at rebuilding stuff for 60+ years, so I don't figure a pump would be much different.
Yeah, it's you got to have special equipment to do it, and the cost of that equipment and to be able to bench test it would be probably in excess of $50,000 to $75,000.
Just to
Plus the
get
training,
started.
and then plus get somebody up on training and.
And that person leaves, you gotta train someone else.
Right. Well, snowball in here, huh?
So on the one at Deerfield, you said it's repairable,
I believe so.
so you're gonna repair that and put it back as a spare?
Yes, it's it's one of these pumps, pretty much identical. And what we feel like had happened is piece of PVC plastic somehow made it to the lift station, probably from some work that somebody was doing on their service line at their home, or maybe one of these contractors that hit, installing all this fiber. It made its way to the station, and it pulled that chunk of plastic up in there, and it melted around the impeller, and it caused some damage and some grooves cut into the impeller to where now there's too much space and it's clogging too often. So
What's the average repair time to get the pump back? For one time you send it off to get it back?
that one, I'm not totally sure. As far as what we think's wrong with it, once like J.R. Stewart can get the repair kit, which will be an impeller and some cutter blades, probably fairly quick. 6 weeks, 4 to 6 weeks.
I do have another question about the other two. Are they beyond help, or?
Yeah. So they work. They're just so worn out that they can't maintain the proper velocity to scour and clean themselves. So they're to the point of there's really no fixing them.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'd entertain a motion to approve Resolution 2024-04.
I'll make the motion.
We have a motion, we have a second.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Hall,
Yes.
Councilmember Chapman,
Yes.
Councilmember McGinn,
Yes.
Councilmember Brooke,
Yes.
Councilmember Rubel.
Yes.
Resolution 2024-04 is approved. Thank you, council. Next on the agenda is Resolution 2024-06. Read title, please.
A resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement with Lonoke County Safe Haven, Inc.
Council, for years, we've been paying $100 a month to Safe Haven. Fact of the matter, there was a lawsuit brought against Little Rock and North Little Rock. We were given for paying money to Little Rock Chamber, Central Arkansas Chamber, one of them anyway, without contract, nonprofit. And so we need to enter into a contract with them for the services they provide us so we can still continue to pay the $100, which is budgeted every year for that. That's what this is for.
Motion accept.
We have a motion, we have a second.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilmember Chapman,
Yes.
Councilmember McMinn,
Yes.
Councilmember Brooke,
Yes.
Councilmember Rubel,
Yes.
and Councilmember Hall.
Yes.
Resolution 2024-06 is approved. Next on the agenda is Resolution 2024-07. Read the title, please.
A resolution expressing the willingness of the City of Ward to utilize federal aid funds for the following project.
Council, we had a meeting about this. This is the next sidewalk project from Hickory to up Elm Street and down 367 that HAF Engineering will work out for us. This is just part of the process, is have a resolution authorizing the application. Entertain a motion to approve.
Motion.
A motion, a second.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember McMinn,
Yes.
Councilmember Brooke,
Yes.
Councilmember Rubel,
Yes.
Councilmember Hall,
Yes.
and Councilmember Chapman.
Yes.
Resolution 2024-04 has been approved. Thank you, council. Next on the agenda is information about the 2024 election cycle. Council members, as you know, each one of you are up for re-election, or if somebody wants to join in election this year. Let me just go over the rules a little quick. Council members, it's a 2-year term. You have to be a qualified elector, resident of your respective ward, minimum age of 18 years. You may begin collecting signatures on your petition no earlier than 90 days before the general election date of November 5th, and you must obtain at least 30 eligible signatures. The petition must be filed with the county clerk and political pledge practice and affidavit between July 31st and noon on August 7th this year. Petition must identify the officer sought in, and if for a council member, you have to put the position number on there before you get signatures. Position cannot be changed once identified on the petition, otherwise you gotta start all over. Qualified elector, just know who they are. They're any person who holds a qualification as elector and is registered under the Arkansas Constitution, must be a U.S. citizen, must be an Arkansas citizen, must be over age 18 years old, must be lawfully registered to vote in election, and must not currently be judged mentally incompetent by a court or competent jurisdiction. For qualified elector, and then also must not have a convicted of a felony without the sentence having been discharged or pardoned, must not claim the right to vote in either county or state. And in addition to the qualifications above, anybody who signs your petition, they must have lived in the city for at least 6 months. And we'll get this information out on the website and social media for those who may want to run for office. We already did this, so we'll press on. With the mayor's report, various construction projects, the starts phase 4, number 4 is $125,000 project, $100,000 Metro Plan, $25,000 from the city. And construction plans are being drawn up by Craft and Tool, and if you remember in this particular project, the engineering fees are paid for by Metro Plan because it's to run through them. Starts 5 project is from Brewer Street down to Moon Road Extension, or down Brewer Street from Moon Road Extension to Markham. We have been awarded, as I've told you before, $256,000. That's an 80-20 split, and the half engineering is working up that one. There is a potential, as we talked about before, the sidewalk project starts 6. Half engineering is working up, will be working up to 30% design and the submittal package on that one. You already talked about the meter replacement project, and Bruce brought you up to speed on that. We're still waiting from the ANRD for additional $700,000 to fully fund the project to remove the sewers, or the vacuum sewers offline. The 2024 street day submittal, I told you last month that we got $300,000 for 6 different streets. That has gone out for bid, and the bid came back in. I got notified yesterday by the state. The bid came in at $330,000. We estimated $338,000, so instead of, we won't be responsible for $38,000, just $30,000 of it. And that will be done sometime between now and November. It's a broad, open contract. It's up to them. It's us, Lone Oak, England, and Carlisle are under the same project, so we'll get it when we get it. And the Highway 319 project is almost complete. They still got to get the guardrail down by the pond, but there's fiber optics down there, which is causing them all kinds of problems. Unified, the UDO, we have finalized the staff has finalized our review of it. This is it, all 260 pages of it. I will send a link out, and you can start reviewing it. Now, just remember the process is Planning Commission will review it, approve it, and make their changes, whatever. Then we have to have public hearings on this. And once we get through the public hearings and make any changes the public wants and back and forth, then it will come for you in the form of an ordinance for approval. But I'll send out so y'all can start reading this lovely thing also. The license plate reader cameras, we had all 4 of them approved. Now RDOT has pulled back 3 of them. They want additional information. I just signed the paperwork to get the 1 that's been approved installed, so that should be happening soon, I hope. Consolidated 911 Center, we have reviewed, the board has reviewed and approved the plans for it, and the contract for Motorola for the equipment is being reviewed right now. So that's pressing forward. We're still waiting for the water wastewater rate study from ANRW. And we have a couple things. See, if you remember in June last year, we had a storm. We had high winds and hail and all kinds of stuff. We have a meeting Tuesday with FEMA and ADAM reps on our requested reimbursement. We have $43,000 in claims on debris removal. If we are approved, it's 75% payment back, so we should get about $33,000 reimbursed. During that same event, during a hail event, we've turned in insurance claims. We had 37 vehicles damaged. 31 of them are repairable for a tune of $85,000. 6 have been totaled for a tune of $62,000, but we can take salvage value on those and get $49,000 on those, which is what we're going to do. Because most of them, 5 of them are police cars that are, okay, they got dents on them, and they're police cars. So, just go with that. We're awaiting the property damage report on the roofs for all the buildings. And that's my report for today, or for this month. Any public comment?
No.
Nobody signed up? Anything else need to be brought before this council by?
Where's
No?
the one license plate reader going?
The first one's gonna go at the corner of Old Dawson Road and Peyton Street.
Okay.
Yeah.
We've seen, since we put ours in, I guess it's now 6 weeks or somewhere in that area, we've recovered 2 stolen vehicles and a burglary, yeah.
And I can show anybody they want on my phone how that thing works. We get warrants and stolen vehicles, and it's helped solve a couple thefts, and
They're just another set of eyes that are
it
just
is.
stationary. They're very cool.
it's been fantastic. I guess we got access to use, I think it's 160 cameras now,
Right, through the network.
over the top of our 4.
And we'll be there too. Anything else?
I have a random question.
Okay.
So like, when the city employees, like the city itself, City Hall, does everybody shut down at the same time for lunch?
We do. We started that in COVID. Just made more sense. And it's since made more sense
Made more sense for you guys or for the constituents?
for us.
Is it ever a consideration to change that and stagger? Because like most people, if they have a break and they have problems or they have needs to call, they're going to call on their lunch break. And then, I mean, that's my business. That's what we do. We stagger everyone's lunches so that way someone can always reach someone. They may not be able to get an answer immediately, but at least someone is answering the phones to give them a direction.
Yeah, we have multiple phones that people can call, obviously, but the 2 customer service areas would be the court, and we try not to have just one person in there because they're collecting money from a legislative audit standpoint. And same thing with the water office. If we stagger, we did, but if we have to, if somebody's off vacation or sick or whatever, we may have to stick another body in there that's not even working, or just to be in there to sit with them during that time period. It just has made it easier for all concerned, for us, to everybody go to lunch at one time and come back at one time. And I haven't heard of any complaints about that at all.
I have, and that's the only reason I was asking. And I get it, because I had called too one time over lunch, and I'm like, because then it's the end of your day, and if you work till 5 o'clock, do you know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Then it's too late to call again, so then you have to try to figure out how to get a break in to do that. Okay, well, I feel like that's always something that's frustrating. It's kind of like when you go to the DMV or anything like that, and then they take a break right when you have a break, and then you can't have to wait until the next time. So it's always frustrating because, again, this is supposed to be the public's place for them to be able to get those things.
From a
and so-
manpower standpoint and for legislative audit, make sure we get enough people in there. We found it just makes more sense. Anything else? Hearing nothing. Some announcements. Planning Commission's Monday night at 7 p.m. Next city council is now going to be February 20th, I guess, at 6:30. Our offices are closed on the 19th. Thank you very much. That'll help on that. Early voting primaries begin on February 20th, and they'll be voting up here at City Hall, so exercise your right. And the Great American Eclipse starts, April 8th, as we all know. It is getting closer. So with that in mind, and that's all I have, I entertain a motion to adjourn. We have a motion second. All those in favor say aye, and stand up. Thank you very much, council.